Andrew, thank you so much for joining us today on the Athletics of Business podcast. I am thrilled to have you join us.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
You know, I filled the listener in on a lot about what you're doing now, but you have such a unique and inspiring journey. I'd love for you to take us back and how you ended up here in this space, doing it is what you're doing and what you created.
Sure. I considered myself an entrepreneur my whole life. And really I had started a business, my first really business that didn't take off the way I wanted it to was a men's skincare product line. And I launched it with a friend of mine. And we got some distribution and we were running across the country in department store chains. It was called Rod's Royal Treatment. And I thought it was moving in the right direction. And then we at first were straight to market. We wanted to go direct to consumer and sell just online. And then we got this amazing opportunity in department store chains. And this department store chain went bankrupt, BK. And we lost all of our distribution. And I felt that at that time, it was the time for me to sort of figure out, I knew this company wasn't going to make it for me. And I really wanted to take some time off and figure out what I wanted to do next. And at that moment, a friend of mine, Ted Hyatt, was the assistant regional director for the Small Business Development Center, which is a wing under the SBA here in LA. And he asked me if I would be a business advisor. So I was like, man, I've never thought about coaching or advising small businesses, but I do have a lot of experience running businesses and starting them and running them and understanding a lot of the different facets. I considered myself a expert at none, but I've done everything you had to do in business, because when you're an entrepreneur and a solopreneur, when you're first starting out, you really have to wear every hat, right? And then figure out what human resources you need for your company and bring them in. So he asked if I would be a business advisor, and this is about, I want to say in 2016. And I said, oh, sure, I'll try it out. And I ended up falling in love with helping small businesses and business owners start businesses, grow businesses, really understand the dynamics that they were going through, the problems, the issues. I then was asked by Goldman Sachs to be a business advisor for their 10KSB program. And it's basically 10,000 small businesses. They started this program, which at the time was helping business owners that were generating about 500,000 to 5 million in revenue create growth strategies. And again, I was working with these successful owners, but really identifying ways to grow their businesses, what went into that. And I kept thinking to myself, how can I help small businesses grow? Now, at the same time, my current business partner, Rob Levin, who is my fraternity brother, my former college roommate.
You want to send a shout out to the fraternity or no?
ZBT Albany.
All right, there we go.
But so, I mean, literally, we've known each other since 1987. Okay. Wow. And we've just been best friends all the way through. When we graduated from college, we moved into the city together. Then I ended up moving out to LA. Rob came out to LA and went to the Anderson School of Business at UCLA. And then he moved back to New York to start his career. And he's been in the small business market he had a small business magazine. He has a content media company. He's just entrenched in small business. And we were having a conversation and he said, what do you think about I have a virtual assistant. What do you think about virtual assistants? Now, this is about 4.5 years ago, before the pandemic, just when it was sort of, people were thinking about it. Right. And I said, every business needs an assistant. And we were in a bar drinking, and I think he wrote down on the back of a napkin, every business needs an assistant. Mm-hmm. And that was it. That was where the idea was born.
Yeah, I love it. Hey, can I back up for a second? Because you have this passion for working with small businesses and helping them thrive. What is it about that? Like, what gets you going? What fuels you? Like, where did that sense of purpose come from with helping small businesses?
Man, I think anyone who has the drive to do something on their own, starting a business is probably the scariest thing you can do. If you're not scared by starting a business, um,
Check
I
your
don't know.
pulse.
There's so
Go
many
see.
variables.
Yeah.
So there's so many variables, and I think that starting a business, if you have someone who has done it before or has encountered the issues or problems that you're going to face and can sort of help you avoid the potholes rather than just diving. You're still going to hit some, but maybe they're helping you avoid a lot of them that are expensive
Right.
because we all hit common problems. I don't know. I just feel like, and it could sound corny to people, but America was built on small business, and we
Amen. Yeah.
still need to support that and to nurture that. And whatever I can do, every time I still do business plan workshops and startups for these small businesses at the SBDC,
Mhm.
and these business owners and entrepreneurs come in with such a passion and such drive, and they just need a little help. And I love doing that.
Are you able to, when they come in and you sit down and do the business plans, are you able to get a sense for like, okay, who's got a really good shot at making it and who's got a shot at, man, they better back up and learn a little bit more vicariously through my failures and through what I have to say, or how does that go?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Yes, you can see some people really just are going to nail it, and
Yeah.
then others have expectations that, I see a lot of people that have no experience in an area that want to, let's say, open a restaurant. It's a
Mhm.
perfect example. Hey, I want to open a restaurant. And the first question is, have you ever owned a restaurant? No. Have you ever worked in a restaurant? No. Have you ever worked in a coffee shop? No. Those,
Yeah.
at that point, I say, I highly recommend either going to work in a restaurant, getting
Yeah.
some experience, or hiring someone who's done this before.
Yeah.
you know, you can tell what people bring into the first meeting if they have the skill set to pull it off.
Right. So when you get that pushback though, right? When someone's got this thing, no, I want to do this. I really want to do this. Okay. Let's like, how do you help them identify and navigate where the gaps are, where the blind spots are, where the pitfalls are?
It's by asking questions. When you start asking questions to someone who's trying to start a business or build a business, and they don't have the answers, it becomes apparent. There's the hard work that goes into really. That's why I say every business needs a business plan. Also, it's not because you might show that plan to someone, but it forces the business owner to sit down and really ask themselves questions and think about the answers and then do the research for these questions and find out more about the industry, more about their competitors, write it down. The more time you spend on the plan, the better opportunity for success you're going to have.
And the thing that I found, and you talk about having fear when you start a business, you absolutely do, but it becomes even more as you're running the business. But the struggle's awesome. I mean, the struggle's like where you get better. The struggle's where you grow. And from the world I come from years ago and coaching college basketball, taking over a program, starting a program, it was fun because you could attach your mission, you could attach your vision to it, you can attach your sense of purpose to it. How much are you talking to that with small businesses?
I'm talking about that every day, and
Mhm.
especially in my business. Your business grows and grows and grows, right? So we started, let's say at Work Better Now, I started with one employee and my partner, and then we grew to two, and then three. Now we have 17, and so when you build a team, and that's why I think of myself more as a coach, a coach to a team than any sort of athlete. I feel like everyone under me are the athletes. They're the ones really doing the hard work and driving my business. And for me, it's trying to inspire, trying to, like you said, push that mission, that vision, making sure we're all on the same road and we all understand first and foremost what our goal is. And then once we have a common goal, how can we all work together to achieve that?
So let's go back and talk about that. So every business needs an assistant on the back of a bar napkin. Okay.
Mhm.
And where did you guys go from there with that?
So from there, we did a lot of research.
Mhm.
Just like I tell everyone that's starting a business, we did a lot of research on the competition, and I really looked out there and found U.S. based, because we provide virtual assistants located in Central and South America.
Right.
So when our motto was every business should have an assistant, our thought was how can we make it both accessible and affordable for small
Mhm.
business. So when I was doing my research, I looked at U.S. based virtual assistants and remote virtual assistants, and I wanted to see where do we fit in this construct? Where, what makes us different, or what's our mission driving forward? How do I see our company? What's our vision for the company? And what I realized was, again, we wanted to be affordable. We wanted to only offer full-time and dedicated virtual assistants to a company, because what we realized were that's where the value comes in. When you're
Mhm.
able to onboard someone that really understands your business, is there for you throughout the day, is able to take ownership, right? It's not like you're hiring someone for a project or a part-time. They're really with you. And also, they're not out there looking for a full-time job, or they're not looking for another project. They're just focused on you.
Mhm.
So that was the first thing we realized. And then I said, how are we going to get the best talent possible? And how is that going to separate us? And that was part of our mission, is to find the best talent possible. So Rob and I came up with this idea. We spoke to Jessica, who was Rob's assistant for 4 years before we started this company.
She's awesome.
And then, and Jessica really helped us run with it. We started posting ads in on LinkedIn in these countries in Central and South America. We started hiring directly VAs, and we hired. Started hiring my recruiting team, and slowly but surely, we started bringing in talent. And Rob, who was he's a master of this marketing and
Mhm.
content, started reaching out to his book, and I started reaching out to my book, and the clients started coming in. And
Mhm.
they just really, and even to this day, about 95% of our clients are referrals.
Well, and that's I love word of mouth marketing. It's just the way I'm about warm introductions. I love referrals that way. But that's how I found out about you folks. I mean, it was very like the differentiators you just mentioned are exactly what was communicated to me. And
Hmm.
one of the things I noticed about Work Better Now, and I've worked with VA organizations before, you shared them. Okay. You could say, well, you had me for 20 hours a week, they had me for 10 hours a week, and they had me for 10 hours a week. But who's to say that those 10 hours and those 10 hours are aligned with my 20 hours? And who's going to say that something of crisis isn't going to happen for her that's going to pull on you? And it's understandable. It is
Right.
understandable, right? And the thing I love that you've said, a couple of things here. First, you came from a place of constraints with small businesses, right? You got creative with that whole idea. But you also said something, I hate ordinary. If there's anything that I hate in life, it's plain vanilla ordinary. And you were intentional about figuring out what's going to separate you from the competition, which I absolutely love. And at what point did it start clicking like, okay, we've got something here?
Once we had too many people wanting a VA, once we realized, see, okay, so we started pre-pandemic, right? So,
Right.
there was a barrier to entry pre-pandemic where everyone was saying, "Can we work virtually?" Right? So it wasn't like it is now. I mean, we almost forget what it was like 2.5 years ago or three
Yeah.
years ago. And then once the pandemic hit and people realized they could work virtually, we really just started getting, and I said, wow, we went, from 25 VAs to 80 VAs in 5 months. And then, we went from 80 VAs to 160 VAs in another, 8 months. And so I realized once that demand started coming in that we touched a nerve. And again, I just want to go
Yeah.
back to the clients.
Yeah.
We are, we really are focused on clients that need full-time assistance, and they understand that that's what they need, and they're paying a little extra because we're not the cheapest remote VA service out there either. Um, but we want to deliver the highest quality, and we want to pay our VAs more than any other company. So, there's a lot that goes into the way we position ourselves, and I really, my mission is to provide an amazing work environment for the VAs and pay them as much as I can. And then in turn, they'll provide the amazing service to the client. And so my motto inside the company is a happy VA is a happy client. Our VAs always come first. And, that is really what drives this company.
Well, I love that too, because we always talk about like customer first. It has to be your people first. Like if your people aren't happy, if they don't feel fulfilled, if they don't feel like the work they're doing is important, there's no way possible your client's going to see the end result of that.
Yeah. I mean, and to be honest, that's what really structured how we match our VAs with our clients. It's really the other way around. Our VAs want to match with the client. So we'll take a job description and we'll put it into our pool of we're hiring VAs every single day. So I have a pool of vetted, trained VAs that receive a job posting internal, and they'll apply to the job posting rather than us tell them they need to interview.
Right.
And then we'll set up the interviews with the client and the VAs. But again, my goal is to find a VA a job that they really want to work in for the long term and provide as much value as possible. Keep them happy.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, because this is when I first heard about it. Because I've been researching similar companies to you as I went through the struggle of trying to find a new assistant. It's another thing I love about you folks is you don't just say, okay, here's what I have. Hopefully some of this works out. You go and get the best ones out there. And like you said, they opt into what jobs fit their skill set and their personality and the way they do things. But what are some of the barriers if someone says, okay, I have these 3 VAs coming from, and they're located in Central America? What are some of the obstacles you may have to overcome in that initial conversation? Because I can be a ringing endorsement here in 2 seconds, which I will, but I would love to hear from your vantage point.
Obstacles. Well,
is, for instance, is distance. Sometimes folks don't like the concept, the idea of someone like across country is hard enough.
Yeah.
But in another country, it's something different, right?
So, yeah, the opposite. First, there's a strange, and again, I don't blame anyone for it, but there's a stigma of possibly working with someone in a different country for security purposes. That's one obstacle that we talk about. And, we're, we have an IT company that we work with and a cybersecurity company, and our team is always trying to maintain safe data, as we hope all of our clients are doing as well. And it's not because the VAs are working in a different country, it's anyone that you work with in your organization. The risk of that is really similar to anyone working remotely in the US or outside of the US. So that's one of the barriers. A lot of times, our leads or our clients think there might be a barrier with communication. And again, we're really testing and trying to make sure that all the VAs that we have, they're bilingual. They've grown up speaking English. We do even have VAs located in Jamaica and Trinidad and Belize that are English as a first language. So language really is something that may be an obstacle, but that quickly is dispelled as well. And then we're recruiting and hiring people that have a lot of experience working with US based businesses as well. So that the culture, there is a different culture that in Central and South America than there is in the US. And sometimes that takes a little bit of managing and setting expectations. And it's a learning experience for both the client and the VA.
Well, in one of the pleasant and not surprised, one of the pleasant things about working with Vianette, who I work with, it's they want to be a part of something. Like they want to be a part of what you're building, right? They want to be a part of something
Yeah.
special. And it's not, you're not trying to do things in such a way to make it easy on them. They're actually doing things in such a way to make it easier on you, to free up more time, to be more efficient, to be more productive. And it's, it's amazing. So you were pre-pandemic. How many months ahead of that were you?
We were about a year and a half pre. We probably came up with the idea 4 years ago.
Okay.
Put it into place 3.5 years ago, and
Okay.
then said, "Holy,
Yep. Yep.
we
Wow. Did
gotta,
we stumble
we have to
upon something here? you
we
know,
have to start building."
yeah.
Uh,
When did you,
so
so there's March, March 12th of 2020. Was it by March 15th you realized something was going to happen? Was it by
no,
April? How'd that
no,
go?
no. It took longer than that. Basically,
Okay.
what happened was, and again, I was also consulting for the SBDC and helping people really
Survive.
through the idle the idle loans, the economic
Yep.
injury disaster loans, and the PPP loans, and really business owners were struggling just to stay afloat, right, and figuring out how they were going to maneuver and handle these crazy situations that were coming up. About 6 months after that, it was time to figure out. First, it was panic mode for everyone, and then it was time to figure out, okay, what are we going to do, right? And that's when we really started seeing. And by December of 2020, we were like, okay, we're on fire now.
Yeah.
So that's when it just all went up, and we were like, okay, we really need to get together. And we started hiring some amazing people. And just an FYI, my company is made up of the same talent that all of our clients use. We've found them the same way that we find all of our clients'
Mhm.
talent. So you know, it's really strange. What I've noticed is virtual assistants and VAs, their roles have completely changed in the last few years. It's no longer just someone who can be your assistant. Okay, it's no longer just an executive assistant.
Right.
Our VAs are filling roles for recruiting,
Mhm.
for managing staff, for invoicing and billing, uh, for marketing and social media. I have hired VAs to do all of these things, and we hire them to do that for our clients as well. I have clients that have 6 to 8 VAs that are working in different roles. So again, the role of the VA has transcended from just the assistant to really being able to staff a lot of different areas in your business.
So where do you go from here? I mean, it's just the potential is unlimited, truly. I mean, it's phenomenal.
From here, we're dedicated now to educating our talent to higher levels.
Mhm.
That's what we're working on now, is creating these educational programs for internally to again help our clients become grow and become the best they can be. So um, it's been an amazing amazing transformation.
Well, that's just the thing. You talk about educating your talent at a higher level. So if I come to you for A, B, and C, and I'm really interested in X, but obviously I don't need to hire someone full time for X, are you willing to develop or provide opportunities for my current virtual assistant to learn about that, to study that, to increase
Yes,
his or her skill set?
that's one of the things that's coming
Yeah.
up in 2022. To be honest, we've really just been dedicated for the last 3.5 years to filling this one role that we've had.
Mhm.
And in 2022, now we can breathe, and we are starting to formulate these educational programs where we're going to be able to educate the VAs, help them grow, and we have some really exciting things in the works. So I can't wait to
Well, I look
to
forward to
talk
that.
about
I
those.
absolutely look forward to that.
Yes.
I look forward to sharing that because, so far everything's been absolutely amazing. And the potential, like I said, the upside for something like that is unbelievable. So
Yeah.
let's talk about you a little bit more. All right.
Sure.
Because I'm really curious. I'd love to unpack, like, when you got to LA, what you did, but where did this entrepreneur spirit come from? Is it something? I mean, did you have a lemonade stand when you were 4 years old? I mean, what
I did.
happened? How
Well,
did that go?
man, when I was, when I, first of all, my dad was an entrepreneur. He had his
Okay.
own business. I've always been working. I worked in a boys suit store when I was 13 years old.
Wow.
had a paper route. I
Okay.
umpired baseball games. I mean, I did it all. Um, so when I was 16, I was mowing lawns and I had met this 25-year-old gentleman who was really good with his hands. And I started a business called We'll Do Anything. And I started getting jobs and he would do the jobs. I wouldn't even know how to do them. I would just get the jobs and price them and he would do the jobs for me.
And what kind of,
Then
what kind of, wait, what kind of cut were you giving them? I mean, how much juice were you
I
taking
don't,
on that?
I was, trust me, I've always been into paying people
Yeah.
very well
Yeah.
because I don't sweat the small stuff,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just into um, treating everyone as best as I can because again, like same thing, a happy VA is a happy client. I mean, I literally understand that when you value people that work for you, they're going to work better for you, harder for you, and really bring back business at the end of the day.
Where did that come from? I mean, was that from your dad or was it from other experiences growing up? Was it from former mentors, bosses, Wall Street?
I it definitely was not from Wall Street.
I
I
put that
was
ball in the tee for you right there. Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
when I graduated college, I was on Wall Street. I got a
Yeah.
job at Bear Stearns as a trade analyst, and I worked there for a couple of years and realized it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Uh, and it wasn't for me because I wasn't creating anything. I wasn't doing anything that I really felt passionate about.
Right.
Again, at the end of the day, it's not just the money. And then I went to LA and again, I wouldn't say that I learned the value. Again, back in the day when I was on, in the entertainment industry, there was a big discrepancy in pay between where we started and who was making all the money.
Right.
And I think that my mom really just taught me morals and integrity.
Mhm.
And in Scarface, they said all we have are our word and our balls, and we don't break it either for anybody.
Yep.
And I feel like that's how I really live my life. And you give respect to get respect, and those are really how I move through life in a daily way. And thank God, my partner Rob, who I can't say enough about, we have the exact same ideology when it comes to how to treat people.
Yeah. Now, you have the exact same ideology, but I have to think there's some things about each other that complement one another. In other words, there's things he's really good at, some strengths he has,
Yes.
or maybe there are gaps for you and vice versa. Talking to that a little bit about with your business partner, because I think there's not, I mean, it's not that common for someone to say, yeah, it's my college roommate, he's my buddies, we've been best buds for this many years, and here we are killing it together, and we're still talk, by the way. That's not that
Yeah.
easy to do.
I, we're so different and we're so similar. So
Right.
it's crazy, man. First of all, he's the visionary. I'll give him full credit. I feel like Rob is just a visionary. He really understands small business. He understands how to market to small business. He understands how to relate to them. He understands technology and automation and the visionary where he laid out where he saw the company and I agreed with him, right? It wasn't like I wasn't like, oh, this is where I see us going. He's like, this is where I see us going. And I said, I agree, I'll get us there. So
Yeah.
he's about the vision and I'm about the implementation.
Mm-hmm.
What I have that he doesn't, from my perspective, is I really love people and I love managing people and mentoring people and coaching people and helping people, right? So with my team, I really feel like I am able to put a lot of time in because he always asks me, why do you have so many meetings with the team? And I'm always trying to figure out how to help them be better versions of themselves. And I have someone that does that for me. I have a business coach also that I work with that I check in with to question myself and become a better version of myself. Because if we're not working on ourselves and we're stagnating, there's no growth there. So Rob is the visionary. and I am and I implement. And for some way, look, we butt heads,
Yeah.
you know, and there's a lot of times that he'll say, well, what do you think about this? And we'll have completely different views on it.
Yeah.
But he tells me that I'm the most rational person he's ever met. And I'll take that as a huge compliment. And then and he's a driver. So he's always driving us
Right.
forward. And I'm trying to maybe pump the brakes and say, hey, we're going to get there, but I'm in the mix. I'm in the trenches. It might not happen the way you think it's going to happen.
Are you two able to turn it off when you go to dinner, when you go have a
Oh
drink,
my
when you're
God.
hanging with the families, whatever it is? Are
Yeah,
you able to turn it off?
I think so. I mean,
Depends who you
we,
ask. If you ask us, yes, we are. But yes, yeah,
I still think that we really just respect each other. It's funny. For 30 years, every New Year's Eve, we would the day after, sorry, New Year's Day, we'd go over our resolutions together.
okay.
Think about that.
Yeah. You've
And
really done it for 30 years.
yes, yes, we would go, and like now we're like, we don't have to go over them together. We already know what we're. Do you know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
already know what our resolutions are, where we're driving to, what we're doing, um, and we're both we have the ability to be um, vulnerable
Mhm.
and open. And again, man, it's a learning experience for me for sure with the team that I'm working with, and um, trying to always up my game and do the best that I can because you have to remember, I have a lot of people depending on me. It's not only the 17 or 18 people that work for me, but it's the 160 or 180 VAs out there that are working for us also. And that number is going to keep growing. And in order to do the best job for them, I feel like I'm always a work in progress.
And we talk a lot here at the Molitor Group about authenticity, and the way we break that down is honesty, integrity, and vulnerability. You just mentioned being vulnerable. Why is that so significant for you, and how has that showed up in being one of the drivers to your guys' success?
Well, it allows you to take your ego out of it a little bit and understand when you need help with something,
Mhm.
right? Uh, I don't have all the answers all the time. And I think that's something that we get caught up in as leaders, that we always have to have an answer right away. So I think that being able to ask someone else's opinion, being able to understand when you don't have the right answer, being able to understand when you make a mistake and take accountability and responsibility. I preach that to all of my employees, and I have to live by the same codes that I tell them. Also, honesty, like one of your pillars. I'm all about honesty. You know, why why mislead? Why lie? Why cover up? Take responsibility and make the change, make the fix the best that you can do, and move forward.
We spend so much time talking about accountability, but think of how powerful it'd be if everybody just took ownership, right? I mean, accountability is a wonderful thing, but it would make all our jobs a lot easier if we took ownership and we made mistakes and we were able to move forward from it.
Yeah, it's funny. I think that starts. I read a book called Extreme Ownership, and it's really about taking ownership of the process and of the job. And you know, for some reason, taking ownership is scary for people, right? And making mistakes is scary for people. And it's up to me to create an environment where people feel secure, they feel safe, they feel vulnerable, and they are able to admit and share and grow. So I take that as, and I'm sure as a coach, that's something that you try to instill in your players as well.
It's that dance, right? The ability to push people outside their comfort zone, support them, but provide that psychological safety. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to
Right.
fail. Now, where do we go from here? What are we going to do with that? And are these things that you picked up along the way in your, I don't use the word failure, but it's how we learn, right? In some of your failures, or the way your distribution chain, the way that failed you, right? Like, okay,
Hmm.
maybe you didn't see it coming, maybe you didn't act on it. I don't know.
Look,
And
I like to say
I don't mean to pull that out specific. I mean the whole vulnerability piece, and to own
that
the
no, that comes
process.
with age.
Yeah,
That comes with age, honestly.
yeah.
I'm a much different person in my 50s than I was in my 30s, or my 20s, right? I
Mhm.
was always when I was younger, it was it was a lot harder to crack the shell, and for me to admit being
Right.
wrong.
Yeah.
And you have children, and you just have experience, and you
Mhm.
grow, and you realize that we're all human. And again, that's just comes from me working on myself as a person,
Mhm.
trying to grow as a person, grow as a CEO, or
Right.
as a boss, as a mentor, as a coach, as an advisor, as a parent. It's one of the things I always ask my mom. I said, how do you think I'm doing with my daughter?
Mhm.
Because I always want to get another perspective. I'm confident, but sometimes we can't see, you know, what's wrong in front of us.
Right. And you just said something. We're wiser in our 50s than we were in our 30s. And I'm often asked, what would you tell your younger self? My answer is there's a lot. I don't know if my younger self would have listened, though. That's the challenge, right? And that's why that's why I love when I work with younger clients, and you see it. You see yourself in them, or you see someone that in them, from years ago. And now it's the like, okay, how do I get through to them? How do I connect with them in a way? Because it's not like I want to remove the struggle from them, but I want to pull a little bit of that pain away. I want to accelerate that learning curve. How are you able to do that with your folks?
Oh, you know, I again, I'm just always. I feel like the open communication is the most important thing, and I try to communicate with the members of my team and let them
Mhm.
know that, first of all, it's okay to make mistakes. Um, I try what I really empower them to do is come to me with a problem, but also come to me with the solution.
Yep.
So, if you're going to come to me with a problem, come to me with that solution, and I'll listen to that solution. And if I need to give you advice on that, I will. But I really want you to start thinking of it as taking control of that situation rather than just coming to me with it, and empowering people. And again, giving them ownership, I feel, and giving them the confidence to make their decisions is so important. Um, yeah, I just think empowering your employees, and letting them know also, like you said, it's okay to make mistakes. We all make mistakes. I don't know, one person that hasn't made the mistake. And what I say in my business is, thank God we're not brain surgeons, because, no one's going to die because we've made a
Well,
mistake.
I'll tell you a story. I've never told the story in the podcast. Matter of fact, I don't know if I've ever told my children this story. My grandfather was a Chicago fireman, lieutenant in Chicago Fire Department. My dad was high school basketball coach for 40 plus years. Started in the South Side of Chicago, where he was from, in the Catholic League. And there was one parent who he had, one of his players, star player, center, who was a great kid, was a nut. And this is back in the 70s. So, just kind of a crazy time. His dad was a surgeon, and Marty would grow his hair out, and he would get himself in a little bit of trouble at school. And every now and then his dad might kick Marty out of the house. But one game, Marty's dad's riding my dad. I'm just riding him, right? And my grandpa said, "Hey, Mr. So and so." And I know the last name, but I'm going to leave it out here. And he turned around. He goes, "What's that?" And he goes, "You know the difference between coach's mistakes and your mistakes?" He goes, "No, what's that?" He goes, "People die from your mistakes." Yeah. So, but that's it, right? Like let's make them. Let's figure it out, and
Yeah.
let's learn from it. Now,
Yeah.
what would you tell your younger self?
Ah, man, don't worry. It's all going to be okay.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I'm going to tell myself.
Yeah.
Stop. Just breathe.
Yeah.
You got to figure it out. Okay. That honestly, like, the my number one best quality is not that I'm smart, or there's I don't consider any of that, or a good leader. my number one best quality is my stick-to-itiveness,
Okay.
my desire to show up every day and never give up. And I feel like, man, that's something that's just, I've tried to do everything I've been interested in my life. And it's led me here with all this experience. And I find it, you know, just looking back, I wish I could have, if I would have seen the future, I don't think I would have been so stressed out
Yeah.
trying to get to where I am.
And wouldn't you have given yourself permission to maybe take a step back and work through something and feel, instead of feeling like you had to plow through it? Like, it's okay. I have a little bit more time to figure this out, than I think I do. And I don't need the anxiety level to go. And I don't really need to worry about what others think of me in this situation, nor do I need to
Yes,
worry about how they treat me, because that's a reflection of their character, not mine.
correct.
Wouldn't that have been just awesome if we could have figured that out at an early age?
I mean, yes, and like if I would have just said, "Look, is no one is thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves." That's the other thing. You know, everyone's so focused on themselves that when you're younger, you think, "Oh, everyone's talking about me," or "Everyone's judging me." They're worried about themselves. You
Yeah, they're
worry
judging
about
themselves.
yourself.
Right.
Yeah. So worry about yourself and worry about uh, yeah, there's so much I would have told myself, but also enjoying the little wins. And I still say that now.
Mhm.
Enjoying the little wins is so important. Giving yourself the opportunity to um, just enjoy that success that you're having. And I don't mean grand success. I mean, you may have asked someone to do something and they did it and they did it well, one of your employees, and you're like, wow, that's amazing. We just rolled out a new customer success program. You're going to be seeing it soon.
Awesome.
And my the customer success manager killed it. Like, she literally presented to us this plan that she's got in place, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And yes, I had the idea. She had to follow through, and she nailed it. And I gave myself a little bit of, okay, this is great.
Yeah.
Enjoy it, right? She should enjoy it. I told
Right.
her, you need to enjoy this time. It's the little wins that we have to really enjoy.
Did you ever have trouble earlier in your career? So, I mean, I know sometimes we get wrapped up. I mean, I know as a college basketball coach, and still to this day, there's times I hate losing more than I enjoy winning, if that makes sense. In
Well,
other words, like,
I'm also a poker player.
oh, there you go.
So I won a bracelet at the World Series of Poker. I love
I
playing.
see. These are the things you can't leave out. You need to tell me these
Yeah,
sort of things here.
yeah,
I mean, that takes things to a whole other level.
yeah. So I'm definitely into game theory, and I hate losing. Hate it. I Yeah. It's, but I love winning. So I don't want to say I don't love winning. But again, the agony of defeat stings harder than the thrill of victory.
Yeah.
And so you always remember your biggest losses, and sometimes we don't remember our biggest wins.
Yeah. And that's unfortunate. And when you really look back on it, though, and you study some of the great ones, whether it be in business or whether it be in athletics or whether it be in the fine arts, whatever it is, their fear of failure is kind of what drove them sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Just that absolutely, I refuse to lose. I refuse to fail. There's absolutely no way that I'm not going to be successful here. And sometimes that's what takes it.
That's this guy.
Yeah.
That's where I said stick-to-itiveness, and you just get knocked down, you get back up, and you keep going.
Yeah.
This wasn't my first business idea. It'd work better now, but it's something that I think what happened was timing, preparation met the perfect time, and um, all of my past experience, it just culminated with an amazing partner again. It just was the right place, right time, preparation, um, and passion for helping, and then that just drove us to where we are right now.
Well, and I truly believe if you work hard enough, long enough, and smart enough, right, and you stay with it, good things are going to happen at some point. Timing is everything. I mean, timing is
Yeah.
everything, but you can't. And I think people do this sometimes. Like, I got lucky. No, you kept working at it. You know what I mean? You stayed in the fight. All right.
Yeah.
Give yourself some props and some credit. And the timing is huge. Now, So how does your poker face play into the way you go about doing your business? Because it's not,
Man,
for anyone who doesn't understand poker and getting a bracelet at the World Series of Poker, that's like tipping your hat at that is a slap in the face. That is a huge accomplishment. And to do
thank you.
that, kudos to you. They can't see me bowing in front of you, but I am. It's unbelievable. And to be able to withstand, tell us a little bit about that, because that speaks to who you are and the fabric that you're made up of.
Well, poker, man, it's a theory game. It's a numbers game. Mathematically, my mind just, I can just do the numbers. So that's just part of the game. But what I'm really, really good at is reading people and reading situations and poker comes down to making the best possible decision with the information that's in front of you. And so I can make decisions, good decisions, based on the information I have in front of me. And that goes for the cards, but that also goes for the people.
Right.
And the actions and the movements and the eye contact. And literally, I can just read people very well. So that's really helped me in my poker career. And I'm proud of it. I love it. It's, as an old athlete, and, I played baseball, high school baseball, and then and soccer. But this is where I get all my competition out. No one really wants to that lack of competition when we get older. There's a need for it for me, and that's where I really find it. And again, like you said, that losing, I just don't like to lose.
I mean, you sit at the table for hours. And
No,
how
less
much
now
does
than I
mental
used to.
toughness come into it for you? I mean, what you have to endure and the stamina. Can you talk about that? Because that absolutely
Yeah,
shows up in your business.
Yeah, I mean, even the mental stamina, I know I still have it because there are days where I was on Zoom calls for 12 hours a day. And I know that sounds crazy, but at some point I was there and hitting those calls day after day. When you play poker, you're on. Even if you're not in the hand, you should be observing everyone else at the table and what they're doing and how they're playing their role. And then once you do that, then you can make, again, better decisions against that player in the next hand.
Mm.
So, I've played poker for 14, 16 hours at a time straight through with breaks, with, breaks every 2 hours. But it is mental fortitude, because once you're tired, your decision-making process breaks down.
I'm going to take you somewhere that I normally don't go, but I'm very curious about this, right?
Sure.
So how do you draw the line from having those poker skills and reading people and reading the data and the information in front of you to not overthinking things? Because we can go, as business owners, we can go down that rabbit hole, right? As a college basketball coach, you watched 25 hours of film for one game at 1:00 on a Saturday on ESPN, and you'd be damned if you were going to miss a play call. But all of a sudden, you realize you overthought the situation, right? Like someone just made a great play. That's all that happened.
It's funny. This is another great thing between me and Rob, my partner. So I am someone who makes quick decisions, and he's someone who sleeps on it.
Mm.
He weighs it all out, and I'm ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
My philosophy: better to make a wrong decision than no decision at all. And so in business, it's amazing to have someone who, he might be thinking about something for too long, and I might be ready to go now.
Right.
And together we come up hopefully with the perfect amount of time to wait.
Yeah.
And
you swear there's going to be no I told you so is when one of us is wrong in this whole thing.
Oh yeah, there might be. There might be. But again, I think our love, as our real love, I mean, for each other, supersedes all of that petty stuff that might be I told you so. So we can laugh at it and keep it moving.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, before I ask you your last question, it's been awesome. I want to give you some space here so you can tell folks where they can find everything out that they need to know about Work Better Now, not just the website, but social, anything you want to plug right here now, please feel free.
Plugging it. Work Better Now, workbetternow.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We're here to hopefully help your business thrive. If you're in need of remote work, staffing to fill positions from executive assistants to marketing assistants, social media management, invoicing and QuickBooks, customer service and business development, it's transcended just what a VA used to be. We are providing amazing talent, and we love, we're passionate about helping the business, our clients grow, and these VAs obtain amazing opportunities outside of their countries.
And I can second, third, fourth, fifth what Andrew is saying here, because Vianette she's a rock star. She's a sweetheart. She's an extremely hard worker. She wants to succeed. She has drive. But here's what she is. And I think in this space, it's one of the best compliments you can give a person. She's a pro who still keeps trying to get better, which is awesome. And I understand it now, because I firmly believe that a team is a direct reflection of their head coach, being you. And she embodies all the things that we just talked about. So thank you, Andrew.
I appreciate. Thank you. I mean, what you just said makes me so happy. It will, because I will go back and tell my team how amazing they're doing. So, because they're in the day-to-day trenches, just like I'm in the day-to-day trenches. And if you don't share that, those wins, just like we were talking about earlier, this is a win. Every time a client tells me they're happy, I share it with the team, because it's a win for the team.
Now, last question. You mentioned a book, Extreme Ownership, which is an awesome book. Can you share a couple books with us that you've read that have impacted you, even whether they're recent, whether they're 20 years old?
Yeah. I'm going to tell you guys the number one book that I've read for
there
business.
It is. I didn't want to put you on the spot, but okay.
Supersedes anything else I've ever read. It's Traction. It literally, I don't want to say it changed the way I looked at structuring a business, but it made me start moving on it. It's there's an entrepreneurial operating system in there, and it's all about assigning numbers to your employees, which are basically KPIs that they have to hit, and every employee should have a number. And then having all of your the team leads come together and in a common meeting and share challenges and opportunities, and how we're going to really build the team a unit to move forward. And also, one of the most important things that I took away from that is you need the right person in the right role. And sometimes you might have the right person in the wrong role, but there's still a right person, and we just have to figure out where they should be for them to thrive and help the company as much as possible. And I think that's one of the huge takeaways I got from that book.
I love it. I love it. It's Traction by Gino Wickman, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. I'll have the link to that in our show notes too. So when you get done listening, go to our show notes. You can click on that link and order it on Amazon. But Andrew, I can't thank you enough. This has been awesome. I appreciate you. What I'd love to do sometime down the road, okay, is have you and Rob on at the same time, because we could have some great banter and talk about how you complimenting each other and just really get a whole. I just think that would be great for some folks to listen to, because it's a challenge. I mean, it is a challenge to do what you two are doing, have done, is pretty phenomenal.
Thank you. And thanks for having me. It was great.
Yeah, it was. Thank you so much. And look forward to having you on again.
All right, Ed. Thank you.